is the aim of the Sensitise project?
The aim of the Sensitise project is to develop an open access training course on inclusion in clinical trials. And when we were designing the project as a team with ECRIN, University of Aberdeen and Maastricht University, we wanted to have two different types of training. One, a module that is accessible around the world. It can be integrated into any learning management system. And so we hope that universities around the world or anybody that offers training in a modular format would be able to implement that. And we also want to translate it as well. So I guess in the sense of being inclusive, we want to reach as many people as possible. So we'll also have it available in a modular format to import in Czech, German and French. And the second type of training then was workshop training, because people that are already working in trials and in the industry usually want bite-sized training. So we thought we'd also develop materials for this that would enable any trialist or trial team around the world to offer this to their colleagues as well.
Why is equity, diversity and inclusion important when thinking about clinical trial designs?
Well, we've learned many lessons from the past, and that's why we know it's really, really important. And our most recent example is the COVID pandemic. So I suppose the best thing I could say is when we looked at the vaccine trial, UK particularly is a very good example, which is quite a multicultural country. Over 90% of the people in the COVID trials, it turned out, were white. And so, okay, you'd say, what's the problem with that? The problem became very apparent when those in other ethnic groups said, how do I know these vaccines work for me? And so the UK government realised it had a problem then in implementation because it had a low uptake for the vaccine trials. And, we have many examples where trials need to reach the people that will benefit most from the outcome. But this was a perfect example and a very relatable one because it was so recent and I guess a very scary time for us all. So the real purpose of equity, diversity, inclusion is to make sure that our trials will benefit the people who will be served by the outcome. So another example that we know for certain in terms of underserved groups, and again people of different ethnic groups, for instance, people have a higher risk of developing diabetes. Therefore, we should say we should have a proportion of Asian people in our trials if we want the results to be meaningful. And I suppose in terms of the design, there's two parts to this question. Why is it important in the design? Well, because if we don't get it right in the design, we certainly can't get the outcome or the output right. So you've got to really think about equity, diversity and inclusion really early in your trial design. And some of the ways we can do that best is working with the people in the community that you want to reach with your trial outcome. And so that will help then to enable an equitable, diverse and inclusive trial.
What can a student expect from this training?
Well, if they're taking the module, they can expect a 12-unit course. It's nicely divided up into bite sizes. So a new piece of material or a new piece of information each day. And it's divided into 3 over the 12 weeks. We have setting the scene, inclusive design, and then building for the future. So we go through things like the history of inclusivity and the ethical principles, defining who are the underserved groups, understanding barriers to inclusion, and then we also have some case studies as well. And then when we talk about the design, we're looking at, well, who should be in our trial, trying to think about how we would access these people or reach these underserved groups, and going forward then building for the future, working with the underserved communities and to be more inclusive as a researcher.
What is being done to build knowledge in the current trial community?
I think people that are interested in inclusion in trial design are quite a connected group around the world. And so a lot is actually happening from education, but now more importantly, implementation. So we also have the very large READY funded project, which is really going to focus on this. So taking it from where we know where the problems are to implementation strategies going forward. So the UK and Ireland, we work very closely in terms of this. This is what we would call trials methodology research. We work very closely together, and we have a number of teams around the world involved in this type of work as well. So I think the future is bright, but I think the shift from establishing why we don't have inclusive research to actually, well, this is what we need to do. Now, how do we implement it in trials is very strong. And I think that's where it's going in the next 5 to 10 years.
How can one access the learning materials developed by Sensitize?
Well, great. We have a website, and when the project is completed, everything will be available there. It will be available in English, German, French, and Czech. And that's for both the workshop materials and the module materials. And then for the educators that are actually implementing the module, we have teachers' guides for each unit and each lesson to help teachers deliver these case studies or the different lectures, which include quizzes as well. So everything will be available free, open access on the Sensitize website. And so you can just Google Sensitize project and it'll pop up. It's at the University College Cork website.